Welcome one, welcome all. I am Fawn, just saw me commentating, but now I'm here on the desk, and not only am I not alone, but surprisingly enough, I made it here to the desk. Nick?
It was a long journey, I'm sure.
Yes,
brother.
oh yeah, I'm sure, yeah. I had to walk miles to make sure I got here.
Yeah,
But
your first day of the console league, though, man.
yeah,
How was Europe?
it was really interesting to watch. It was just fun overall. Like I think it's just
Right.
super cool to just watch all of this.
Just to get the best part about console is just that it does have such a polar opposite meta at times. And like you, for instance, you were like Talus, like when you got in here and you
Yeah.
started seeing the draft. I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of part of it, right? So it's
Yeah.
fun to, because of the different metas, you get to see some new champions you might not otherwise get a whole lot of screen time on.
Yeah, regardless of that, I mean, it was really, really good. But the thing is that now we have to pretty much look at, I believe, the two players it is that we're going, not two players, two teams
North
we're going to be
America,
playing in
yeah.
North America, yeah, that we're going to be playing right now.
Yeah, Europe is done, guys. We're headed over to North America
Mm-hmm.
just so you can see. These are the standings. Obviously, no one's played any games right now, but these are the four teams you'll see representing North American PS4 for this phase. Hydra Gaming, a new roster, a new organization you might not recognize. Nemesis, brand new, kind of towards the back half of Phase 1. Onslaught, you know them, you love them. Stremex as well. That's a completely new kind of face for you to expect this time around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really, really interested to see what these teams are going to bring out. Like, we've seen such a drastic meta shift just differently from, like, we moved from the PPL to the console league and then, of course, to the minor league and all these different characters that are being played, so many different metas, so many different really just the different characters is what's getting me. Like it's so
it's the biggest jump.
Yeah,
for
it is.
sure.
It's the biggest jump because we're seeing more victors. We're seeing more like we see Vivian
Hella
Tyra like
hit
a
scan.
PPL. but so much more hit scan than what it is that I'm normally used to seeing.
Right.
But it's still good regardless. I believe we're going to get to the maps right now, or at least the map picks. Or
Yeah, we're going to be getting to the maps pretty soon. Here comes the bands in now. Timbermill, that'll be taking a seat. Nemesis getting rid of that one. Stone Keep gone via Onslaught. Onslaught's second band. Frozen Guard, Shattered Desert as well. So many, and part of the console league is that, there is actually more teams in the console league than there are, in the minor league and even the Premier League. So it's a lot of different players. You're going to expect to see a lot of new faces kind of phase to phase. The way that the people qualify out is different. That's part of the reason I think why you see so much turnover, because you have to be the best in your console region combination or you're not going to make it to LAN.
Right.
And you're going to want to make adjustments if you're not making it to LAN.
Right, yeah. And that's like so important, especially like these PCL teams are going to fight like super
Definitely.
hard to make sure they can win their proper standings and do the best it is that they can.
Right.
But for right now, though, I believe we're going to be coming to maps right now. Yeah, the map picks as well. The first, Jaguar Falls is the first one up.
Yep, these are best of 5 sets as well. As you can see, that's all we've got slated. Saw a lot of action on Thursday and Friday in the Premier League. Those are best of 7. So these best of 5s may not seem like the biggest difference, but you'd be surprised how quickly these can go, especially because it's still set up the same way where high seed gets the first pick, low seed gets the second pick. From there on out, it's loser's pick. But if you've lost the first 2, by the time you get to loser's pick, that's kind of it. Your back is against the wall. You got to win or go home in these best of 5. So they can happen very, very quickly unless you put your foot down.
Right, yeah. First, we're going to be looking at the con ban here from Onslaught, followed by Torval. It's pretty standard. It's pretty much what you'd expect to see anyway, especially on a map like Jaguar Falls.
Con definitely solid both on PC and on console.
Right.
Has that feature. The big caveat for consoles, they love their hit scan tracking base characters. So not even necessarily all hit scan. Like an Andro is kind of where he is on PC, right? Not super viable, but the flicking, not as popular. These guys track like monsters. Some of these guys are world-class trackers, so anything like those. Talus specifically, he's the big one that you're not necessarily going to see on PC as much. Your Con's still in that category, so he's still going to be super viable here.
They decided to take the Atlas first, if anything, and then they want to lock Genos Victor in response. We've been seeing a lot of that combo happen today, not only just like right now in the draft, but like in EU as well. The Genos Victor, the Luminary buff being so strong, especially in like this, where I would imagine with hit scan would be like, that would be really dangerous.
The thing about, Victor and even Tyra and Vivian is that those characters have always pumped. I mean, those are all big, big damage characters. And if anything, PC has console to really look to for kind of coining those, because there's nowhere else that you're really seeing that as much or as fluently. You get a lot of data on those characters from watching the console league. So like we mentioned, those characters already pump. You throw a little bit of damage amp their way, and then they just get very, very scary. And a lot of them, especially Tyra, Vivian, and Victor, they don't have escapes, so their only way out of bad situations is through. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you got to add to the problem. They need to be able to damage their way out of anything. They're not going to escape otherwise.
Right, yeah. I see that they decided to go for the Barrack. They're hovering Ashe, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be picked. That's something you see a lot on PC as well, is the Barrack Ashe combination as well. You see it from so many PPL teams because it's so potent once it's actually in there. Like, they have so much staying power just with Barrack Ashe in general. On the response, though, I'm seeing a lot of Terminus today. I wonder if they're actually going to go for Terminus. Are they going to run a triple tank that we just saw last match?
It looks like it because, I mean, Grover is a great healer to heal those triple tanks because he himself is a big boy, right? He's getting that passive healing the entire time, and it lends itself very well. The tank's not quite as long range as some of the other champions, so they can stick together more effectively, and when everyone's sticking together, that's when Grover is most effective.
Right.
Vivian, you can even throw her in there as well. She's just going to kind of move around, not too fast, not too slow. This could be really something scary. I'm very surprised to see as much Terminus as we have today, for sure.
Yeah,
I guess it's a mainstay.
Right, yeah,
I
guess it has to be.
a couple of different sets at this point. It's something that's here to stay. Everyone's picking it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to be. They decided to lock in Willow last, though. It's going to be really good because I can imagine you'll be able to control a lot of points with this Willow, especially into Makoa. It'll be hard getting through a shield, but with Fayfly, her movement, I feel like that would be really, really strong.
Yeah, got to stay above him. Dead Zone is incredibly effective against Grover.
Yeah. Which draft do you like more?
I want to see Onslaught win this one.
Onslaught win this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you heard it first here from Nick. Onslaught will be the one he wants to go to, but let's throw it down to casters to find out what's happening.
Appreciate it, Stefan. Thank you, Nick. The most contested region of last split in the PCL, the 1-2 matchup coming to us on day number 1 here. Nemesis, of course, making their way to the MSI. Onslaught, they traded games back and forth. I believe both teams were 10-2. And both of the 2 losses for both teams were to one another throughout the split. So it's going to be a contested matchup, a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also, the drafts, though, I do think it's a little sided to Onslaught just because of purely like the triple tank win rate on console, I think is absurdly high. Nemesis have the tools to, they have the counterplay, they have the Willow to deal with the Grover heals, they have Victor to run away, maybe do some damage on the way out, but I don't know if they'll just be able to get through all the meat that triple tank has.
That's true. I mean, would you say that this is a lineup where a Terminus actually does make some good sense?
Yeah, Terminus and triple tank is solid. You just negate a lot of damage. If he hits that dead zone early too, if it blows up on the siphon, it's further away, so his team gets a little bit more space, and triple tank already showing its worth as the first pick goes onto Flame.
Yeah, Flame effects, notably jumping over to the Nemesis lineup now. Onslaught, much the same roster, 4 new names for a lot of those. Swarm She was, or used to be Swarm So, I guess, but Onslaught, like you said, first couple of kills, 2 for the Makoa, 1 for the Vivian, 0 for Nemesis as they're pushed all the way back into their base, 48%. Already for Onslaught here.
Yeah, great forward zone. If they can keep them dismounted, looks like they got them all dismounted, but they have to watch for the Ashe touch. She still does have a chance to get in. They might be a little bit too far back to stop it now, though, as they back up in main as well, but looks like Flame's dealing with the stasis field and pressure on the right, believing in his main tank to touch point. Barrack does manage to touch, but I'm not sure if they can follow up with him in time as he goes down.
Yeah, Whoosh is the first to go down on this retake attempt. I think they're going to back off. Maybe a shoulder bash to get in there one last time, but touch is not going to come through. All the kills for Onslaught. Just maybe one last final kill towards the end. Spray on the body, even Flame Effects goes down, and Onslaught, I believe, deathless through the first 2 minutes of the game here. 100-0 on the point, and they're pushing now for point number 2.
Yeah, settling up on the left side there, the Jag side, or Phase side, excuse me, that's the comp of it. Setting up on Phase, trying to get some pressure. Barrack actually getting caught out, wasn't able to dash out. He has to use his failsafe. Doesn't get found out, though. Looks like Whoosh put out a little bit more pressure, but James Parker going down in mid. That's not looking great for Nemesis. Barrage trying to slow it down, but it wasn't able to find anything. 2 picks and Nemesis in Onslaught's favor.
I mean, it may be triple front line, but they are rolling through. The damage cannot be ignored, especially Ralkion is on this Vivian. First round of Sentinels up as well as this payload maybe rounds its final corner for the game. Minute and a half left. They might not even need it all if they're able to add some extra kills here towards the back end. The divide as well from Atlas goes up. Look at that, just shreds Barrack to about half health. That's 3, 4, 5 bullets, maybe just a couple seconds of firing. Barrack already has to back off. His payload cannot move any further forward before it goes in. That's a good setback onto Whoosh. The hook as well pulls him in. Swarm She grabs the kill there. SJP, Flame Effects, each adding one back here for Nemesis. They need to find a way to get SJP out of the air here, but they answer back in such a good way. But this Makoa is still alive, and the payload is still so close to going in. Maybe that pulls him out of contest range.
Hook.
Beautiful hook by Swarmshe, and that gets Onslaught point number 2.
Yeah, that was actually looking really bad at first for Nemesis. I mean, it ended up going really bad for Nemesis, but they had to have the Willow Fae Flight in to contest the point.
Yep.
That's really, when you're doing that on Willow, like, yes, you have more maneuverability in the Fae Flight now, but you're going to take a lot of damage really quickly. That's not what you want to be doing. They managed to hold it off, but fantastic use of the counter.
Yep.
The crowd control from Onslaught, stacked up a little bit, set back into a hook, guarantees that push for them. And they're going to look really solid on this, coming into this mid-fight with all that tank pressure, no items really online for Nemesis yet to deal with all the healing and all the shielding.
And all that's going to be immediately available is the Assert Dominance. You'll have Dome Shield after a little bit of this engagement. A couple of Rejuvenates, notably for the frontliners here. Sorry?
A Deft Hands.
Oh, yeah, Deft Hands for Ralkion. I mean, you're somehow firing through that 70-round clip. Want to get it up and available as much as possible here. Onslaught, couple ultimates, notably Ancient Rage and the Exiles. Sir James Parker, the first to drop here. Losing your main damage threat is not the way you want that to go. Victor, though, still alive. That second damage threat as well. Was forced out around the backside here.
Yeah, SJP got forced into a bad way. Onslaught had really good control on both sides. SJP got forced into the dark room. He had no one there to peel for him. He ended up in the middle of all those tanks, and that is not where you want to be as Willow, the small little fairy. The DR can only protect you so much. Dome Shield forced in the mid by the Terminus, putting on a decent amount of pressure. Ancient Rage actually forced on the side here too, trying to find some kills. Not going to block the dash, but he had to dash away, so now no one's able to help the Barak on point.
Yeah, 96%, 99. That's going to become 100 if they're not able to get in and get a touch. Whoosh is just going to maybe get melted before he stays alive, actually. Bowling Ball keeps him alive. The Genos healing as well on top of it. 99% for Onslaught here. The Makoa adds another kill onto Willow. Tough game up to this point for SJP. The stun as well onto Flame Effects. Finally, some kills coming up in favor of Nemesis. The Reanimate, though, gets blocked out largely by the shield in this case. Overtime ticking away. They have to get in. Jeff the Raccoon adds a kill, but through time and space, getting in, getting a touch is Whoosh, but he might be the last line of defense.
Nemesis is finding a lot of damage, but they're not finding a single confirm. I mean, they're trying to kill 3 tanks being pocketed by a Grover. They're not shooting the same thing. Even the Stasis Field was blocking a ton of that. Oh, she's still kind of taunting on the cart, spraying, swinging on that spray, reminding them that at least establishing some dominance for himself here. Swarmshe on a spot to go for a hook here that I did not know about. Oh, it looks like he's just stuck in the wall a little bit here, going for a hook. Does not manage to find it.
I thought he was somehow going to make his way up there.
It's a spectator thing. I thought he was actually stuck. I'm like, wow, I did not know as much about Jaguar Falls as I thought I did.
That's
but
right.
Just trying to find some hooks on the side. They have enough time to wait. They have plenty of time for the cart to go. Just killing time looking for a pick.
A contested matchup at 3-0 here. Remember, Nemesis were your MSI team coming out of this region, splitting games with Onslaught throughout it. Flame Effects coming into this Nemesis lineup, making his presence felt here on the right side on this defensive stand for that side. You have the Barrage as well. Notably, the Ancient Rage, I think, got a little bit of extra value even for Onslaught. Kept them alive, but also forced out the Barrage. They were trying to execute the Makoa, but just did not work out that time around. Then they just had to kind of throw bodies towards the point at the end. Nice hook. Ghost is going to be the one to grab that kill as well. Richie down for the next 10 seconds. That's going to make up for a lot of ground here for Onslaught.
Yeah, SJP was almost, wow, I'm surprised he managed to get out. I think he got a mark at the very last second, but still Ralkion pushing around the side, gets that kill there too. Barak stuck out. Flame getting hook out of his Assert Dominance too, set back into it, but he's going to die. Both tanks on him, and the cart's still moving this entire time. Can Nemesis contest this at all?
I don't know. I guess they are right now for 58 seconds. Richie pulls one back, but Ghost is still alive. On to Flame Effects goes that damage. Ralkion trying with this right side flank here. The Vivian could be all they need. Might wedge this one in. And Onslaught, a 4-0 victory to start off this matchup. They win game number 1, now just 2 games away from taking the set. That's about as convincing of a game 1 with such a contested storyline between these two. You're feeling good right now if you're Onslaught.
Oh yeah, what a good draft by them too. I mean, they got pretty much, I'm assuming, everything they wanted. I really want to know what Triple Tank's win rate is in the PCL.
It's got to be kind of nutty.
It has to be obnoxiously high.
I think so. You would assume so.
I think it won almost every game that I was on the desk for in the PWC. The console wars. So I can't imagine how high it is. When you get a draft like that, deny those counters, have great pinches, great pressure. So good by Onslaught.
Elevate is next. I'm I'm praying. I mean, this is a bit of an MSI throwback, but the 5 stack on the point on Serpent Beach, I've been craving it ever since it came out. At first, it worked there.
Just the void in your heart was never able to be filled since that game.
Never filled. 73k damage for Richie on the Victor. Good for top in the game. But then, honestly, just more consistent stacked up damage on the side of Onslaught. I guess that's what you expect maybe with triple frontline. Your damage numbers aren't going to be wildly inflated, but your death numbers, notably, are going to be a little bit lower.
Good on Jeff actually not dying.
Yeah, 206.
Pressure, yeah. I mean, Genos, yeah, he can play far enough away to get that healing out, get a little bit of damage boost, but really solid positioning by him. Keep himself alive. Wasn't able to find too many through time and spaces, but that you don't really need to, I think, at triple tank. They're all going to live when you hit them anyway.
I mean, I gave Terminus a bit of a hard time up to this point this morning, but at 5-1-6, I believe, Ian Nishi, great game. Honestly, great game on the Terminus. Fits well into this composition. I know there's a little discussion on Twitter right now about why he's so picked up in the console league. You know, aim assist notwithstanding sometimes, but a good game from the Terminus this time around.
Yeah, I think so. He really fills his role in triple tank a lot more than some other drafts. Also, since they didn't pick up Khan having the ability to bring that crush, to bring that extra CC on top of things too, we saw how good the Vortex grip was in that triple tank lineup. So bringing that kind of supplemental CC, turn things around a lot. Plus, of course, denying Willow damage in dead zone. That's what's going to tear your triple tank apart, and Terminus just says no.
Terminus says no, absolutely not, and that's what Onslaught says. 4-0 victory to start off the day. Jaguar Falls, great map for them. Nemesis making some changes. Flame Effects coming in here. Good start to him being on this Nemesis roster. Fun game number 1 for this contested matchup. We'll send it to a quick break. When we come back, game 2.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Console League.
Welcome back after a very